Hey guys, hi everybody. I'm excited to be here. Feels late for me today. And we'll give a few minutes for everybody to come along and get in here and join us. It's late here. I'm East Coast, so it's 8 o'clock. So we're calling this Cats and Coffee, but I don't know, it's maybe Cats and Cocktails. I don't know, maybe whatever you're drinking. Hi, Vanessa. Thanks for being here. I'm excited for today's conversation. I'm excited to get a chance really just to talk to you guys. We joined the blackout movement last week as needed, and I'm glad that we did. But you guys know this is my Basepaws, my family here, and I love to get to spend some time with you guys. So I was sad last week and I missed everybody. And this week we're doing a pretty heavy Q&A time because I get to talk to you guys and hear from you guys. We have had some amazing guests in the last couple weeks. We've really just knocked it out of the park with some brilliant industry folks. I know that. I've had a lot of fun. But we really want to get a chance to talk to all of you guys, and we want to be here to answer your questions. And so this week we are focusing on bringing home a new kitty cat. So it's really, it's a whole new world for kitties when we introduce them. And so it's really, really important to do so in a good way. Whether you have already got cats in your house or if you are introducing a brand new cat to your house. So today's conversation is going to be focused entirely around how we make sure we introduce our cats in such a way that we set them up for success and that we set them up to get along with any kitties who are in our household. So that's what we're talking about. And that's what I'm here to answer your questions about. So if you have specific questions about introducing cats, if you have specific questions about cats getting along in the same household and how that introduction goes, that's what we're here to address. So it looks like you guys are coming on in. Say hi to me. Tell me where you're from, how you're doing today. Like I said, I missed you guys last week. I was totally down, with taking the opportunity to let the voices who needed to be heard. But I am excited to be back with you guys. So let's get rolling. I have a new camera. I feel like this week, and I feel like you can see my whole office. So all of the books that I love to read, and so I'm excited to hear your questions. Tell me, you guys out there who have multiple cats, if you're having difficulties, how your introductions went in the first place. And what that looked like for you guys. And we'll just talk a little bit just through the process of why introducing cats can be so difficult in the first place. Vanessa and Hunter in Massachusetts. Hi. Oh, Hunter, I love that name. It's like, it's what I do and it's who I am. So when we talk about introducing cats, it's funny because, cats love routine, right? They love things to be the same. They want their lives to have order and structure, and they really want to be able to lean into and trust that. And so, they have to count on that. And so when a new cat comes into the household, all of a sudden they kind of lose their ability to say, wait, I have control here. And so Victoria is saying she just adopted a stray Tom. You got him neutered and introduced him to the home last month. So, hi, Victoria. Thanks for bringing him into your home. There's nothing better than a Tom, right? With those big, round, sweet faces. Oh, they're the best. Those squeezy cheeks. So, it's funny because I kind of think about this if you were to be introduced to a new individual. So say you're at your house, you're cooking dinner, you're cleaning, you're doing your normal afternoon routine, and your partner comes in, your kid comes in, your roommate comes in and is like, hey, here's our new roommate. This person's going to be living here now. You're immediately going to start thinking about your resources, right? You're going to start thinking about are you paying rent? Am I going to have to pay for you to live here? Are you buying your own food? You might be thinking oh man, we only have one bathroom. How are we all going to get ready in the morning? You start immediately thinking about the resources that you have and how they'll be compromised with the introduction of a new individual to your household. Your cats do the exact same thing. So when it comes to introducing a new cat into your household, what we have to do is make sure that they understand and know that their resources are not going to be compromised, because there is plenty of resources for everybody to go around. And then we also want to make sure there's like a slow, steady, okay introduction. And honestly, it's better in this area to be proactive than reactive, because it's easier to go slow and steady than to have to rewind the tape and fix any damage that was done. So make sure you put any questions that you have in there. If Victoria, if you had a bad experience, or maybe how did you introduce your cats, or how did that go? But like I said, so we go back to cats. The fact of the matter is this is all about resources. So when we introduce another cat into the household, they're going to be worried about what's going to happen to their resources. And when we talk about resources for cats, we're talking about food, water, lounging spaces, right? The most optimal, like you might even be thinking that if you're somebody brought home a new person to your house, you'd be thinking like, they're messing with my remote control. They're sitting in my chair. I do not appreciate any of this, right? So your cat's going to feel very much the same way if we have somebody just come into their space, just dumped in there and moving through the house saying like, well, I guess I live here now and I'm taking your resources. So we think about lounging spaces, food, water, toys, right? Litter boxes, everything cats find of value. We want to make sure we have enough for each and then some. And that's most important when we come to scratching posts, litter boxes, and laying down snugly, height resources, places cats want to lay and spend their day. When we don't give cats the security that they're going to have enough resources when they have new folks introduced new cats introduced in their space, they'll start guarding those spaces or acting out in concern. So those are the things we want to make sure. Those are the things we want to have ready for any kind of introductions in which we introduce new cat, new space. So I'd love to hear your guys' questions about this. Make sure you're posting them down here below. Let me know what you guys have had in terms of struggles when it comes to introductions, when you brought new cats into your household, or even if you had a single cat in the first time into your household. How did that go for you guys, and what were the difficulties? Because the fact of the matter is, it can even be a struggle when you're bringing just one cat into a household. So even if you don't have any cats already, if you just bring a brand new cat into the house, which tons of people did, right? Like COVID hit and everybody went out, adopted pets, and then we're so glad that they did. It's wonderful that they did. But in doing this, a lot of them brought them home and maybe didn't have the resources that the cats needed to feel immediately comfortable. Maybe they came in and they just opened up the crate and introduced them to this big, like 2,000 square foot space, which can be really overwhelming for cats. So the introductory time that we spend in bringing cats into the household, when we bring new cats into our household, so go from single to multi, we really want to do it in such a way that our cats are comfortable. They still maintain control, because what we know with our kitties is that they really truly can, once they feel like they have a loss of control, we know that they definitely act out. And when we start to have the acting out behaviors, that's when we start to lose that human-animal bond and that, that control with our pets. And we want to make sure that we absolutely don't do that. So, okay, we have a couple questions that have come in, so we want to make sure we address them. And the first one is it better to introduce a male or female kitten to a resident cat? So here's what's really kind of neat is we have found that there isn't a ton of evidence to say one way or another that introducing or having two males or two females in a space is difficult. Now, a lot of people have opinions about that. So a lot of people will say an intact or an unspayed or neutered male or female will have certain behavioral qualities or impacts on pets that are in the household, and that can absolutely be the case. However, we don't have any science to back that up. So I feel pretty comfortable saying if it's a kitten and they're not in any kind of sexual maturity, and especially if the resident cat is spayed or neutered as well, you can go either way. So go with the pet that fits the best into your life and your lifestyle and that you have the most connection with. Don't worry so much about the gender, because it hasn't scientifically been an issue that we can find as far as science and research goes. Okay, so another question that we got, and this one is really meaningful, right? Because what we know is that one of the number one reasons we see pets surrender to shelters is behavioral issues. So Haven asks, is it better to rehome or keep cats who don't get along with the hope that they may one day? I obviously want to say first, my instinct is like, don't rehome them, give them an opportunity, give them a chance. And I think this is super situational, right? So what is going on? What is happening? One thing that is, I feel like commonly a mistake with individuals when we talk about introducing new cats is growling, hissing, swatting is aggression, and they don't get along and it's not okay and people freak out. I totally understand how that could be, because it is upsetting to see when this happens. But the fact of the matter is, for the most part, they're working it out when you're seeing these behaviors. So when you think about the fact that cats are like talons, right? Little knives on their feet, and these teeth that can do immense damage. If two cats are tussling a little bit as they're being introduced into a space, they are working it out. So when you say don't get along, the first thing I want to say is, what is the level of not getting along that we're seeing? Is this like full out blood, hair flying, veterinary visits? We have a different level of aggression. If this is like slight little tussles, we can probably work through this, figure out why they're tussling, what resource they feel is limited that they have to guard or have some aggression about. And then we can kind of expand from there. So for me, I wouldn't go with rehoming right then and there. I would start to try to assess what level of aggression, not getting along we're seeing, and how we could possibly work through that. For the most part, when cats are not getting along, if they're being aggressive, if they're sending a message, they're sending a message. It's related to a resource. So if we backtrack a little bit, and for the most part, we can figure out what's going on and what they're upset about. And then a lot of times with cats that are not getting along, if we separate them and we revisit the introductory period and we kind of start to share scents and we start to have positive reinforcement, food and treat and play near each other without visual contact, we start to make associations. Cats are very, very smell oriented. So we can usually recreate a positive experience associated with the scent of that pet and revisit that experience that the pet is feeling when they're interacting with that other cat. So for me, don't automatically go with surrendering or rehoming if you don't have to. That being said, if you are bleeding, if the other cat is bleeding, we have a serious behavioral issue. And then when we start to talk about rehoming, we have a liability somewhat associated with that when we have a behavioral issue with the cat. So in that case, I really do think that we have some responsibility to try an actual behaviorist in the household. I think that making sure medical conditions aren't a problem. I think there's a whole process that we need to follow ethically, morally, as pet owners before we go to the surrender. This question's so fun. Cats on the counter, yes or no? I kind of want to say here, like, the best answer or the truthful answer, because I will tell you, there are cats on my counter at home. Okay, so I let my cats on the counter and it's really super bad and I know I shouldn't, and I'm constantly wiping my counters. The fact of the matter is, like, we really think about this, right? Cats use litter boxes and they walk through their litter boxes. The last place they should be is on our counters. For the most part, if your cats are getting on their counter, you might want to look around your house and see if your counter is the highest space you have in the house. Because your cat might be telling you, I'm looking for a high space, and this counter is what I have to choose from. So we have this divider wall in our house. We have a very open floor plan with vaulted ceilings. and this divider wall that kind of sticks out, and it is the highest point in our house. And our cat likes to get up there and like really be king of everything up there. So remember that your cats love high spaces. If your cats are getting on the counter, honestly, it probably should be a no. And that's just basically because the risk of them ingesting something they shouldn't, the risk of you getting sick because of their nasty little kitty paws. I mean, truthfully, I know that I can remember back in tech school, we took a kitty paw and we grew the bacteria on the bottom of it. It was so gross. It's really, really cute when it grows on a bacteria plate, but it's gross. So cute kitty paws, we definitely don't want to eat off them. So your preference, I'm going to lean toward no kitty on the counter. And I'm sorry, cats across America. If your cats are getting up there, you need to make sure they have high spaces within your house. So Alex's question is, if you put your own indoor dog and cat, or if you own an indoor dog and cat, are you able to really put your cat's food on the floor anywhere and your dog not eat it? This is totally dependent on your dog, your willingness to train your dog to leave it, and your willingness to follow through, and also to some extent your dog's drive, right? When dogs eat cat food, it's what we call a self-fulfilling behavior, sort of like getting into the garbage or counter surfing. So this is a behavior that's like, even though I'm naughty, I get a huge payoff. And the huge payoff is like the burger I just ate off the counter, or in this case, a giant bowl of like super protein rich, delicious kitty kibbles, right? So the problem with that is they're really hard behaviors to break, because they're like, nothing really bad happens. You yell at me, but I ate this whole bowl of kitty food before it happened. One thing I find to be a little bit easier is like, if you can't beat them, join them. So my kitties have a dog gate behind, that blocks off the space where they eat. And so my doggies can't get in there. And even for my senior kitty, what we've done is just raise the gate off the floor in a space that's too small for my kitties, but big enough for her. So there's a lot of options. You can be really creative when it comes to that, but I know it can be super difficult because these guys are persistent. They're real persistent. So down to a couple of your guys' questions and just revisiting here a little bit. So Victoria says, my two kitties are still having trouble. The stray Tom waits for my sweet kitty for her back to be turned and pounces on her. We kept him in one room for a few weeks, tried to feed him on the other side. So you went through the process that you knew to be okay before letting them out together. So Victoria, again, this can be a sign of working it out. So what I would ask is, and this is what we go through in Coach My Cat, when we have aggression issues in the household that we want to work through, is what does that aggression look like? And then we look a lot at, what does the play look like? What kind of play goes on? Because sometimes what happens in multi-cat households is we think that the two cats are going to keep each other entertained and that they're going to be the fun for each other. And the truth of the matter is cats don't play like that the way that dogs do. So we still have to play and engage our cats in another way. And sometimes we don't do that when we have multi-cat households. So what we look to do is really make sure that hunt, prey, catch, kill, eat instinct and chain that our cats have, that they tend to redirect on other cats in the household if it's not otherwise fulfilled, is fulfilled. And we fulfill that through playing, and we fulfill that through feeding in ways that feel like hunting. So all things we talk through on Coach My Cat, and all really important things in redirecting your cat to know your friend is not prey. I see that you see her moving. I know that you want to jump and pounce on things. This isn't it. And we make sure that we're playing in a way that fulfills the need, that drives them to do that. So I think that's wonderful, and I'm glad that you asked that question. Vanessa said a hunter likes the counter too. How about how to deter cats from human food? So again, this is one of those like do as I say, not as I do things. Because like I get this when our cats are really super cute and they want things, right? And again, this becomes one of these self-fulfilling behaviors. The number one way to stop any behavior we don't like is to reward the behavior that we do. So when kitty goes to eat something they shouldn't, we call them in the opposite direction, and then we reward them with something they can have. We engage them with something they can have. And we have a tendency to say, ignore the behavior that you don't like. Well, in this case, obviously, we're not going to ignore them trying to eat human food and then like pretend that calling them away is going to be the better option. We're going to move the temptation, call them away off the counter, and then reward them for engaging in the space in the way that we want to. So we want to make sure we're setting them up for success by giving them the other thing that they're supposed to be doing. So same thing, with Victoria's question, when we see our cat showing the body language that says, I'm going to pounce on sweet kitty, we know that we can interfere, jump in there, and stop that, redirect that behavior before it happens. And we learn, when I feel like this, when I have this energy, when I get this feeling to pounce, I redirect it over here on my toys or my scratching post, or I do something that is allowed, and I don't jump my really sweet sister. So those are really great questions. You guys are, always asking great questions. You're always doing such a great job at being better pet owners. And that's one of my favorite things. If you've got any further questions, type them on in there last. We'll finish these up here in just a few seconds. I will, in the meantime, go ahead and announce our winner this week for Basepaws Challenge. You guys have totally been showing up for Basepaws Challenge, and I can't thank you enough. When I get tagged in my Instagram on these adorable pictures, these sweet, sweet kitties, I truly just lose my mind. So we have 2 winners this week. And I'm not totally having an easy technology time with getting them both pulled up. So I'm going to share with you the first winner and then see if I can't get the second winner pulled up. So first and foremost, we have, this is the cutest face I think I've ever seen here. And we were talking about our cute name chains. So this is Ball. I think it's pronounced Ball. And we somehow go from the name Baal, Baal, the Lord of Destruction, which I'm sure there's a great story behind that, all the way to Mushy Bear. So I had such a really fun time looking at and listening to all the really, really cute name chains that you guys shared with me. Thank you guys so much for doing that. So that was awesome. So, I feel really bad if I'm pronouncing that right, incorrectly, but you guys are winning your choice of a mug or t-shirt from the Basepaws store, because we know you already have your DNA done, because we are big fans of that adorable little smush face. And so what we're going to do is make sure that you have the item that you choose. Don't worry, our team will be in touch with you very shortly to make sure that you know and you are fully ready with all the information that you need. We had a couple more winners. So we also had, so we had Ball as winner number 1. We also had, winner number 2 is, drum roll please, if you are. So we had Sophia Piccoli. Let me make sure I'm sharing this picture over here with you guys. It's adorable. I asked everyone to show me your, I woke up like this face, and you guys totally delivered. So we get to see the best just woke up faces. I was checking out those teeth and doing a little oral exam there, but if that isn't the cutest, I just woke up like this face. So you guys are also going to be the recipients of a mug or t-shirt of your choice from our swag store. And then, you guys, this Basepaws Challenge has been a lot of fun. It's a whole thing is centered around trying to make sure you guys are totally learning the whole time. We have so much information we're learning about cats, and we have so much fun we can put into it. And you guys have been so engaging. So the Basepaws Challenge is entirely based around you guys learning, you guys having fun, and I guess at this point, me getting tagged in your adorable cat pictures, because that's a lot of fun too. So make sure you're checking us out on Facebook. Whenever you enter the Basepaws Challenge, make sure you tag it Basepaws. You can tag me if you want to, Cat Coach Beckie, and then make sure you're using the hashtag Basepaws Challenge. And I'm looking forward to this upcoming week. We will have more information on our Facebook and our Instagram. If you guys aren't already following us over there, please make sure you do. And I think that's all the comments that we have for today. I have had a really fun time. Thanks for joining me a little later in your day today. We were excited to see how you guys felt about coming together in an evening time. So I hope you guys had fun. I enjoyed it. I hope your cats out there are getting along and being introduced. And if you are thinking about getting another cat, which, you know, I'm a big, strong encourager for that, we want to have healthy, happy introductions. So thank you guys for taking the time to be here with me tonight. And if you've got questions, if your cat needs to be coached, you know where to find me over on Cat Coach Beckie and over at Coach My Cat with Basepaws. Thank you guys. Thanks for being here. And I look forward to next week. And we'll talk to you guys soon.